I never thought saying no to a free trip to Maui would get me disowned. But that's exactly what my family did over pumpkin pie, with the string lights twinkling like they were in on the joke. They voted me out of Christmas like I was some defective ornament. My own brother leading the charge with a grin that said he'd been waiting for this. And in that moment, as the fork clattered against my plate, I decided, screw forgiveness. I'd burn their perfect little world down, starting with the body that wasn't mine anymore. It started 6 months earlier, in the sticky heat of a Brooklyn summer, when everything I knew about blood ties shattered like cheap holiday bulbs. My name's Natalie Harper, 28, the black sheep of the Harper clan, not because I was wild or reckless, but because I dared to chase dreams that didn't come gift-wrapped in Daddy's venture capital cash. While my brother Ethan climbed the ladder at Dad's hedge fund, schmoozing investors over dry martinis, and my sister Lila played trophy wife to a tech bro twice her age, I scraped by as a freelance graphic designer in a walk-up that smelled like yesterday's takeout. We weren't poor growing up. Dad made bank in finance. Mom curated art that no one bought. But they doled out love like stock options, only to those who performed. That July, Dad dropped the bomb at our annual family strategy session, which was code for him dictating our lives over steak at Peter Luger. Christmas this year, he announced, swirling his scotch. We're doing Maui. Private villa. All-inclusive. But it's not a handout. It's an investment. Ethan, you're closing that biotech deal. It'll be your reward. Lila, you're expecting, congrats. By the way, so rest up. Natalie. He paused, eyeing me like I was the weak link in his portfolio. You pull your weight, kid. Land that client pitch. And you're in. I nodded. Because what else could I do? But inside, resentment bubbled like the overpriced IPA in my glass. I'd been pulling my weight since college, freelancing while they handed Ethan internships and Lila a starter condo in Soho. My pitch was for a nonprofit, pro bono work for a shelter helping queer kids kicked out by families just like ours. Noble. Sure. But not the kind of flashy portfolio builder Dad approved of. Make it count, he said, clapping my shoulder a little too hard. Or don't bother showing up. The pitch tanked. Not my fault. The client ghosted after their board imploded in some internal scandal, but try telling that to the Harpers. I called Ethan that night, voice cracking over the line. Bro, I blew it. What do I do? He laughed. That easy baritone that always made him the golden boy. Nat, come on. Dad's not gonna fly you out for participation trophies. Just fake it. Say you nailed it. Then bow out gracefully. Fake it? That was Ethan's gospel. He'd faked his way through Yale with bot essays. Lila faked her way into love with Daddy's connections. Me? I couldn't stomach the lie. So I told the truth at the next family Zoom, admitted the flop, owned it like the idiot they thought I was. Mom's face pixelated into pity, the kind that stings worse than anger. Oh. Honey, she cooed. Maybe next year. Focus on stability. Dad just grunted, disappointing, before logging off to his golf simulator. Lila texted later, sucks. Sis. But Maui's gonna be lit. You get it. Ethan called, voice syrupy. Look, Nat, it's not personal. Family first, right? We'll miss you. Miss me? They didn't even fight for me. That's when the hook sank in deep. The betrayal wasn't the vote. It was realizing they'd always seen me as expendable. The spare tire they kept in the trunk for emergencies. But I wasn't done. Not by a long shot. The real unraveling hit on Christmas Eve, 2 days before their flight. I'd holed up in my apartment, fairy lights strung haphazardly over eviction notices, nursing a bottle of cheap Merlot and scrolling through their Instagram flex. Ethan posing shirtless on the beach already?
No.
That was last year's trip. This year, it was all anticipation posts, Harper Halls, palm trees photoshopped over Manhattan grids. My feed was a graveyard of passive-aggressive memes about toxic families, but none captured the void gnawing at me. That's when the package arrived. No sender. Just my name scrawled in Sharpie on brown paper. Inside, a vintage pocket watch. Tarnished gold. Ticking with an unnatural rhythm that synced to my pulse. Tucked in the velvet lining. A note, tick-tock. Natalie. Time to rewrite the holiday script. Press the crown at midnight. Creepy? Hell yes. But in my buzzed haze, it felt like fate, or at least a better high than solitude. Midnight struck, I pressed. The world spun. A vertigo whirl of lights and shadows. My skin prickling like I'd mainlined espresso. When it cleared, I wasn't in Brooklyn anymore. I was staring at my reflection in a full-length mirror framed in mahogany. My reflection?
No.
This body was taller, leaner, with Ethan's jawline and that smug tilt to the lips. I touched the glass, fingers trembling. Holy shit.
I'd swapped.
Into my brother's skin. Panic clawed first. How?
Why?
The watch. Now on the nightstand in what I recognized as Ethan's Upper East Side condo.
Hummed faintly.
No answers. Just an instinct. This was my shot. Their betrayal replayed in Technicolor, fueling a rage I'd bottled since childhood. Ethan, who stole my college essay and got the scholarship, Lila, who borrowed my designs for her wedding invites without credit, Dad, who blamed me for Mom's stress after I came out as bi in high school, like my truth was the market crash. They'd voted me out.
But now?
I'd infiltrate, dismantle from the inside. Revenge. Served Hawaiian style. He had a flight in 48 hours. Plenty of time to practice the swagger, the voice. The mirror mocked me. Ethan's hazel eyes stared back, but mine burned underneath. Merry fucking Christmas, I muttered in his timbre. And it fit like a glove. The swap held through the cab ride to JFK. My new limbs moving with an alien grace, Ethan's long strides eating up the terminal, his wallet fat with Amex black cards that screamed privilege. I boarded first class, champagne flute in hand, eavesdropping on the flight attendant's flirt as if I owned the sky. By touchdown in Kahului, the tropical assault, humid air thick with plumeria and jet fuel, had me sweating under Ethan's polo. But the mask stayed on.
Smile. Nod. Play the part.
The villa was obscene, infinity pool spilling into the ocean view, thatched roof over a great room that could host a TED Talk. Dad greeted me with a backslap. There's my closer. Deals in the bag. I channeled Ethan's cocky drawl, sealed tighter than a subprime vault.
Pops.
He beamed, oblivious. Mom air-kissed, her Botox smile not reaching her eyes. Ethan, darling, help with the bags. Lila waddled in from the lanai, 6 months pregnant in a kaftan that cost more than my rent. Her husband, Chad, the crypto douche, trailing with a vape cloud. Bro. Shots later. Chad fist-bumped, reeking of axe and entitlement. We settled into the rhythm of Harper excess. Morning yoga on the beach. I faked savasana, plotting instead. Lobster lunches where Dad pontificated on tariffs. Evenings of Mai Tais and Monopoly, Family Edition, where losing meant donating to their charities. But under the luau skirts of civility, I probed. That first night, over poke bowls, I needled Dad. Remember that Christmas I was 10? The one where I got blamed for the tree fire. He chuckled, forking tuna.
Ah.
Nat's little rebellion. Matches everywhere, kids. Right?
Lies.
It was Ethan, high on pilfered Dad cigars, flicking embers to impress his friends. I took the fall, grounded through New Year's, while he got a new Xbox. The secret festered, a buried coal in my gut. I'd borne their sins before, covering for Ethan's DUIs in college, forging Mom's signature on Lila's report cards so she could party. They called it loyalty, but it was leverage, a debt they never repaid.
Now,
in his skin, I felt the weight lift, replaced by a scalpel-sharp intent. Step 1. Sow doubt. It started small. During a sunset hike to the bamboo forest, I accidentally let slip to Lila alone, while Dad and Mom lagged about Chad's side hustle. Heard he's dipping into that NFT scam again. You cool with that? Prego. Her eyes widened. That perfect manicure digging into my arm.
what?
Ethan. Shut up, he promised. I shrugged. Ethan's nonchalance perfected. Just saying. Family first. Yeah, the seed planted. I watched it sprout over dinner, her sidelong glares at Chad, who blustered about blockchain innovation. By day 3, tension simmered like the volcano we toured, Haleakala's crater a black Mom mirroring my mood. I escalated with Mom during her spa afternoon. Slipping into the treatment room post-massage, Ethan's abs got me waved right in. I dropped. Lila's baby daddy's got gambling debts.
Ma.
Offshore sites. Saw the alerts on his phone. Half-truth. I'd peeked during a pool dip. Finding crypto, apps hemorrhaging red. Mom's face crumpled, the cucumber slices slipping from her eyes. Ethan, why didn't you say? We can't let her. Protecting the brand. I cut in, echoing Dad's corporate mantra. She nodded. Scheming already. Harper women didn't divorce. They maneuvered. That night, the family dinner cracked, Dad grilling Chad on projections, Lila in tears over trust issues, Mom mediating with passive-aggressive jabs. Ethan sat back, sipping pineapple rum. The chaos a symphony I'd composed. But power has a price. Slipping back to the guest cabana, Ethan's private oasis with a hammock strung toward the waves, I wrestled the watch from my wrist. It resisted, the crown warm, almost alive. Pressing it summoned the whirl again, spitting me back into my own body in Brooklyn. The clock unchanged. 24 hours. Then swap back. A trial run, courtesy of whatever cosmic glitch or cursed heirloom this was. I spent the interlude pacing my apartment, scripting phase 2, expose the patriarch. Dad's empire wasn't clean. I'd known that since interning at his firm, filing statements that smelled fishy. Insider trades, off-books bribes to regulators. Ethan covered them, his MBA a shield. But I had proof, buried in old emails I'd screenshot years ago, dismissed as paranoia.
Now?
Leverage. Swapping back on Christmas morning felt like rebirth, waking in Ethan's bed to ukulele carols and the scent of cinnamon rolls. The family gathered for brunch on the terrace. Lays around necks. But the air hummed wrong. Lila wouldn't look at Chad. Mom hovered like a hawk. Dad raised a mimosa. To us, the unbreakable Harpers. I toasted, then feigned a cough, pulling out Ethan's phone. Hey, Pops, check this old firm email. Remember that SEC dodge in 18? His face drained, the flute trembling. Ethan, what the hell? I scrolled, projecting innocence. Thought it was funny. You signing off on those consulting fees to that senator's shell corp? Wild times. The table froze. Mom gasped. Lila whispered.
Daddy. Chad.
Sensing blood. Jumped in. Whoa. That's fraud territory. Man. Dad's eyes bored into mine, his son's, betrayal twisting his features. You kept this? After all I gave you. The hook twisted deeper. He saw disloyalty where there was none. Because, in his world, sons didn't rat. I leaned in, voice low. Family first, right? Or was that just for the ones who say yes to Maui? The brunch dissolved, Dad storming to the study. Mom trailing with apologies. Lila and Chad slinking off to talk. Alone on the terrace. Waves crashing like applause. I felt the first true thrill. But revenge is a tide. It pulls you under if you're not careful. That afternoon, as the family fractured, I cornered Ethan. Wait.
No.
In his body. I was him. But the swap's echo let me glimpse fragments, his memories flickering like bad reception. Regrets over a mistress he'd hidden. The biotech deal built on falsified trials. Power corrupted. And I tasted it, tempted to indulge. To bed the cabana girl who'd eyed me earlier. But Natalie's core held firm. This wasn't hedonism, it was justice. Day 4 dawned with a hangover of humidity and hushed arguments filtering through the villa's teak walls. I'd swapped back overnight, crashing in my Brooklyn bed to the sound of distant sirens. But the pull was magnetic. Pressing the crown at dawn yanked me into Ethan's form again. Sprawled on silk sheets with a half-read Bloomberg. The watch's rules clarified in flashes, 24-hour cycles. Midnight resets. No extensions. A cruel timer, but enough to orchestrate the fall. The family breakfast was a minefield, Dad at the head, nursing black coffee. His usual bonhomie replaced by a predator's scowl. Ethan, he barked as I entered. We need to talk. That email stunt? Not funny. I poured juice. Casual as a cat. Stunt? Just transparency.
Dad.
Post me too. Post FTX. World's changing. Thought you'd appreciate the heads up. Mom hovered, plating eggs Benedict with trembling hands. Boys. Please. It's Christmas. Lila, red-eyed from whatever Chad spat, muttered.
Yeah.
Ho-ho-hum. I played peacemaker. Diffusing with Ethan's charm, stories of yacht parties with investors. Promises of fixing the files. Dad thawed. Marginally. Clapping my shoulder later by the pool. You're my legacy. Son. Don't screw it. Legacy. The word soured. His legacy was a house of cards. Built on my silence. Ethan's complicity. That's when I struck deeper, slipping into his study during siesta. Rifling the laptop. Password. Harper 1. Predictable. Buried folders, not just dodges. But the big one. The '09 crash cover-up. Dad hadn't just shorted. He'd tanked a competitor's stock with rumors he planted. Ruining lives, widows, retirees. Folks like the shelter clients I designed for. And the kicker? Ethan knew. Had the memo chain. They'd framed the fall guy. Uncle Ray. Dad's old partner. Who ate the blame and the bullet, literal. 6 months after prison. Secret unearthed. Bile rose. Uncle Ray, the one relative who'd believed in me, sneaking me art supplies when Dad cut my allowance for feminine hobbies. His suicide note, forged, for the files Dad's doing, to tie off loose ends. I'd borne that grief alone, whispering at his funeral, "It wasn't your fault," while they toasted moving on.
Now.
The truth clawed free. Evening brought the luau. Tiki torches flickering against the dusk. A steel drum band pulsing island beats. Hula dancers swayed, but the harpers sat rigid, lays choking like nooses. I waited for the pig roast, then accidentally left Dad's laptop open on the lanai table, SEC email chain forwarded to a dummy account I'd set up in Ethan's name, with a blind CC to a journalist contact from my freelance days. Timing impeccable as the dancer twirled fire. Dad's phone buzzed. He glanced, paled, snatched it. "What the, Ethan?" All eyes on us. I feigned shock. "Pops, what's up?" He thrust the screen. The forward, time-stamped minutes ago. "You leaked this? To the journal?" Gasps rippled, Mom clutching pearls. Lila freezing mid-bite of Kahlua pork. Chad smirked, sensing opportunity. "Dude, that's whistleblower shit." "Feds incoming." Dad lunged, grabbing my collar, his son's face purple. "You traitorous little shit. After everything, Maui. The firm. Your future." The luau halted, staff scattering like spooked chickens. I shoved back, Ethan's strength surging with my fury.
Future?
"You mean the one built on Ray's grave? I found the memos."
Dad.
"The rumors you spread, the note you faked. He didn't kill himself. You murdered him with your greed." The words exploded, raw and irreversible. Mom wailed. Lila sobbed. "Uncle Ray?" "No." Dad staggered, denial crumbling.
Lies.
"Ethan, you're deranged." But the seed hit fertile ground. Lila bolted, vomiting over the rail into hibiscus bushes. Chad followed, whispering about prenup clauses. Mom collapsed into a chair, murmuring, "It can't be true." Dad rounded on me. Voice venom. "Get out. You're no son of mine." Irony bit sweet, I wasn't. But as security escorted Ethan to the guest house, the watch ticked louder. A countdown to revelation. Midnight loomed. I paced the cabana, the ocean's roar mocking my pulse. The swap's gift was clarity. Ethan's memories flooded now. Unbidden. Nights of coke-fueled doubts. Hating the throne he'd inherit, yet too cowardly to abdicate. He loved me, in his fractured way, once. As kids, he'd confessed the tree fire over smuggled cookies. But love twisted into complicity, burying truths to keep the kingdom intact. Pressing the crown, the world pulled me home, to my body, slumped on Brooklyn linoleum, the watch cooling on my palm. 24 hours off island, but the dominoes tumbled without me. News alerts pinged. Hedge fund titan son leaks fraud files. Christmas Eve bombshell. Dad's face on CNBC. Denying. Ethan's statement lawyered. Terse family matters are private. But the journal's source? Anonymous. Irrefutable. Back in the villa by next dawn. The air was ash, cops on the lanai. Feds, flashing badges. Dad in cuffs. Sputtering about frivolous probes. Mom catatonic on Xanax. Lila barricaded with Chad. Divorce papers en route. And Ethan, real Ethan. Swapped into my body? The watch's twist. Bidirectional. He blinked from my form, disoriented in the interrogation room mirror they'd shoved him to. "Nat, what the fuck did you do?" We faced off in the villa's shadows. My eyes wide with betrayal. You voted me out, I hissed, still in his skin for the cycle's end. This is payback. He lunged, fists flailing in my slight frame. You're ruining us. Dad's going down, we're going down. I dodged, the watch burning against my wrist. Us? There's no us. You buried Ray. Covered the crashes. I took the hits so you could shine. He deflated, tears streaking my freckles. I didn't want it.
Nat.
The swap, it's the watch. Right? Some voodoo from that estate sale. I bought it for you. Anonymous.
2.
Fix things. Thought it'd let me walk in your shoes. Confession cracked me. Gift turned curse. His guilt manifesting as magic. But too late. Sirens wailed closer. The feds hauled Dad away. Mom screaming incoherently. As midnight neared, Ethan begged, swap back. End this. Temptation gnawed. Restore the status quo. Forgive? But the Harper's empire crumbled live on Fox Business. Investors fleeing like rats. Controversial choice. Let it burn. I pressed the crown alone, leaving him in my body. The timer his prison. Back in Brooklyn, I watched the feeds. Dad indicted. Lila filing for sole custody. Mom checking into rehab.
Ethan?
Holed up in my apartment, fielding calls from lawyers. His golden life swapped for my scraps. Revenge tasted like victory, but hollow, family eviscerated, mine included. Was it justice or spite? The watch ticked on my nightstand, offering more cycles. One twist left. The aftermath crashed like a nor'easter, winds howling through my cracked window as January bit into New York. Ethan, trapped in my body, pounded on the door 3 days post-swap. Face gone under my pixie cut. Eyes hollowed by sleepless audits.
Nat.
Open up. We gotta talk.
I did.
Reluctantly. The watch hidden in my sock drawer, like contraband. He barreled in, my old hoodie swallowing his borrowed frame. This is insane. I'm you, clients calling. Rent due. That Godawful futon.
And Dad.
Jesus. The feds froze everything. Schadenfreude flickered. Then guilt. He collapsed on the couch, head in hands. The watch. I found it at that Jersey auction. Estate of some occult nut. Instructions said it'd balance scales. Thought it'd make me understand you. Walk a mile.
Didn't expect.
This. His voice cracked. My timbre lending it pathos. I voted you out because Dad pressured, said you were dragging us down. But I fought it.
Nat.
In my head. Anyway. Lies or half-truths. Ethan's charm had always blurred lines. But the swap revealed fractures, his memories of panic attacks before board meetings, nights staring at Ray's photo, whispering apologies. Cunning as he was, power had molded him into Dad's echo, Machiavellian moves to protect the nest, even if it meant pecking kin. Too late, I said, brewing tea to avoid his gaze. You all chose luxury over loyalty. Now live it.
He stayed.
Uninvited, crashing on the floor, fielding my gigs while I ghosted clients. The body swap persisted. A ping-pong of presses. Me and his athletic build for high-stakes depositions. I tanked one hilariously, stammering legalese. Him and mine for therapy sessions I'd booked pre-Maui. Irony abounded, Ethan. The alpha, navigating my period cramps, me. The outsider, charming Dad's ex-colleagues into spilling more dirt. The firm imploded, lawsuits from jilted investors. SEC raids uncovering not just '09, but a Ponzi thread to 22. Dad lawyered up in white-collar purgatory. Bail denied for flight risk. Lila called weakly. Voice slurry from wine. Nat, Ethan, whatever. Fix this. Chad left. Took the prenup cash. Baby's coming. And mom's.
Gone.
Sold the penthouse for scraps.
Gone?
Mom had vanished post-arrest. A note. Needs space to breathe. Traced to a Santa Fe ashram. Chanting away the Harper stain. Lila's empire of influencers tanked, sponsors fleeing the scandal. Her feed a wasteland of unfollows. She begged alliance. We were sisters. Remember summer camp? You covered for my shoplifting. I did shoplifting Barbies to toughen up, as Dad decreed. Another sin I'd shouldered. Detention slip forged in my name. Sisters? I echoed over the line. Ethan's phone hot in my palm. You ghosted me after. Now you need me.
Click.
Controversial? Hell yes, abandoning blood in crisis. But trust, once shattered, doesn't glue with tears. By February, the twist brewed. Ethan and I synced swaps. A fragile truce, 12-hour shifts. Trading intel. He leaked minor files to soften Dad's landing. I courted a pro bono lawyer for Ray's estate. Suing for wrongful conviction. The watch weakened, though crown sticking. Whirl less violent. As if karma tallied scores. One night, post-swap in my body, Ethan confessed the deepest cut. The biotech deal? Falsified data. Knew it'd kill trials, people on ventilators.
Nat.
But Dad said pipeline or bust. I greenlit it. Sickness roiled. Not just greed, negligent homicide. Dozens dying from untested drugs rushed for profit. I'd borne echoes, designing ads for that miracle pill. Ignoring gut whispers. You let them die, I whispered. His body convulsing in my apartment's dim. For what? A villa? He wept. My cheeks wet. I'm sorry. Swap me permanent, take my life. Punish me. Temptation peaked. Press the crown forever. Claim Ethan's assets. His abs. His absolution. Become the heir. Rewrite the Harpers in my image. Philanthropy fund from the ruins. Shelter named for Ray. Or let him rot in my skin. Scraping ramen while I jetted to depositions. Power siren song. Dark and tensile. But the climax crested in March. Dad's trial opening in Manhattan Federal Court. A circus of suits and steno pads. Protesters chanting outside with signs. Justice for the 09 heirs. I attended as Ethan, testifying under immunity, deal brokered by my leaks. On the stand, under fluorescent glare, I unraveled it all. The shorts. The forgeries. Ray's frame. Dad glared from the dock. Cuffed and creased. Mom absent. Lila live streaming from a halfway house. Why now? Son, his lawyer sneered. Because family isn't a vote, I shot back. Voice steady. It's the secrets we keep, or burn. The courtroom hushed. Gasps. Then applause from the gallery. Dad's empire vaporized. Fines in billions. Prison for life. Ethan, watching from the back in my body, nodded fractionally. Pride? Relief? Post-verdict. The watch died. I pressed at midnight in the courthouse shadows. Nothing. No whirl. Just silence. We were locked, me and him and mine. Panic hit, identities swapped eternal. Lives entwined in absurdity. Ethan me? fled to a diner, scarfing fries in my frame.
What now?
I can't.
Design.
And you, numbers make you puke. We schemed over coffee, dual lives, alibis for the mundane. But the reversal struck dawn. Cops at the door. Not for Dad, but us. The watch, traced to its maker, a 20s con artist. Time debt curse, swaps permanent unless both forgave. Ethan's gift was boomerang. He'd intended empathy, but buried malice, the vote, sealed it. To break free, mutual absolution. Controversy crested. Forgive, after the dead. The disowned? I paced Central Park. His loafers crunching leaves. Weighing, justice demanded chains. But mercy? A Harper rebirth. Ethan waited on a bench, shivering in my coat.
Nat.
I get it. Vote you back in, always were the heart. The decision. Damn the darkness. Forgiven, I said, clasping my hand. The crown warmed, whirled gentle, bodies inverting. Back in my skin, the watch crumbled to dust.